streaming. Let's see if it actually works. Is this coming to YouTube at all? Let me just check that really quickly. If everything is working as it should. Let's see, GRC Trader. Okay, and I am currently live. Question is if the sound is okay. Okay, so sound is there. So I'm gonna go over my trade today, and forward I will actually record all these trades with the live on YouTube, and then I will post it up later with execution and stuff like that. We just hit a new all-time high on NQ, which is amazing. It's what I wanted to see today, and everything played out to perfection. So yeah, really happy with my read today. I'm gonna go over everything and down to my entry. So I started on the weekly here, mapping out my levels. We have the weekly manipulation down here from last week. I'll go over this as well. But if we look at this really quickly here, we can see that from last week we made a low here and then basically pushed up here. So coming into this week, when we look at the weekly candle, there is no way that I'm going to look at let's actually do this on, why is this, okay, cool. So if we look at the weekly candle, yeah, anyway, going back to where I was, I marked out the previous week EQ, I marked out the previous week high and the previous week low, and I had these levels down here mapped out, and then I went into the 4-hour levels after the week, no, actually not the 4-hour levels, the daily levels, which I have here. So the daily levels, we were inside of this gap, so I'm not really gonna mark that because that's just gonna be too much noise. But we were respecting the 50% of that level, right? So we came down and held above 50% of this gap right here. Because of that, I thought we were most likely done. I mean, normally I would probably short if we were in a bearish trend, because we are getting a closure below this low, so I could anticipate lower pricing. But context is key here, right? So on the daily, we have this gap right here, and if we go lower again to the 4-hour, we have, let's see, just before anything, just gonna make sure nobody is actually in the chat here. Maybe they are, but in that case, yeah, anyway, going back to this. So on the 4-hour here, before the open, and I have everything here. This is the complete video of everything mapped out live as it happened, my execution and everything. But before the open, we were up here, right? So this here is basically the start of the day. Okay, I went too fast there, my bad. So I mapped out this order block right here. That was a level that I was looking at. I was also looking at the midpoint of this order block, because sometimes price likes to dig deep. Going into this again, if we go into the daily candle here, and if we look at midnight open, that's usually what I have it on. So price made a break of this. We closed below this gap right here, but again, we didn't really sweep high, so I'm not really looking for shorts. if we actually took out these highs beforehand and we had this inversion, I would probably take shorts, even though we are in a massive bull trend, right? Because it just makes sense to try at least. So yeah, going forward, I mark that level and into the 1 hour levels here. Let's go over those. We had some 4 hour levels here. I'll map it out here. So we have the 4 hour OB, as I said, and the mean threshold of that 4 hour as well. Look here. So you can see I also have the 4 hour gap here, and I mark these levels as you can see here. Then right at around the open, I am marking out the 1 hour levels as well, and I actually moved some of the 1 hour levels already, but I marked this order block right here, I believe, and I had also the gap right here that was here when I looked at it. So this level right here. I was actually looking at potentially seeing price come down to take out this low into 4 standard deviation. Because if we look at this right here, we have a distribution leg from the highs, at least that's how I'm looking at it. Not really any break on that side, so I'm looking at this side. And I mark out the levels, data high, data low. We had the PPI today, right? And people are really, really bearish. In a bull trend, that's really, really nice to see. So if I see price go lower, that is my confirmation that most likely this is manipulation, right? And we want to go higher. Really, really clean setup today. I actually wish that I was trading this on a funded account, but it is whatever. I traded this on eval and I passed one account. Now, coming into this, I'll go over this on the lower time frame as well. So I have the data low and the data high, and I'm looking at potentially shorts, or was thinking about it. I wanted to see potentially this order block being used. That's why I have it marked here. Now, we never got up to that, so we simply dumped right at open, right? This is the open. We dump down, and I'm looking at this low here to see if we form SMT, meaning divergence between ES and NQ. And I actually thought I saw that because we have it on lower time frame. So if you go into the 1 minute and you look at, let's see, you can actually look at it over here, my entries. So I took this long right here. As you can see, this little dot down there, it is showing my entry. However, I got stopped on that. You can see that here as well. Let's see. Yeah, there is that small little red marking on top with the arrow. I don't know if you can see it here, but it is visible right there, right? Now, after that, I was simply just waiting and seeing if we would come lower for a possible entry into this gap right here. We had several gaps here on the 1 hour, and I'm gonna go over this. So we had this to begin with, which was really nice. I also had this marked, right, and 50% of that. But because we went lower, I'm simply removing this and thinking, okay, next level then. And I was contemplating taking it down here at the CE with the 4 standard deviation, because if we look at this again on lower time frame, if we look over here, we have this low, right, that is sitting exactly at the midpoint of this, or just close to. So I thought we could possibly sweep that and come down here and take out this low. I think on another time frame, I'm not, maybe it was 15 minutes, let's check. We didn't have a wick there, so that's why I marked that out. This is inside a gap as well, so just below this low would be perfect, right, for that entry. And it's very close to the 4 standard deviation. So I was like looking at this as a potential area. Now we did hit 3.5, so it is valid for me to take a long here. And that's exactly what I did. So once I saw price start to come up here, I simply entered long, as you can see here, right? That is my entry, and my target was simply, I wanted to see higher up here, but because of that break even, I was happy with taking it up to the highs here, up to the highest CIVI. And then again, once we started consolidating here, I'll go over it on the 1 minute here. I looked at this as accumulation, right? So this here is accumulation. This here is manipulation. It's also under 10 a.m. open, which is really a nice place for, like, if you're gonna see continuation, you do want to see manipulation at the lower side of the 10 a.m. open, key open. And then basically price ended up going higher, and I took it to this high right here because I didn't need more. Obviously I was looking at all-time highs today, and I said that in the video as well, and that's exactly what we got. We got the all-time highs today, and I'm very, very happy. If you look at this as well, it looks like a market maker sell model into a buy model here, because we have the original consolidation, and then it goes lower, forms this low, and we have SMT at the lows as well. Really, really nice, with ES printing SMT at the lows. And then we start a bullish uptrend. Very, very beautiful. So yeah, I just wanted to explain my thought process going into this, because I will be doing that every single time I take trades. And even if I take losses or whatever, I think it's a good way for me to practice this and actually learning from it. Now I do have all these levels from April, so I've mapped out all levels. But going forward, this is basically how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have every day following the same kind of logic. So I will be marking out external highs and lows on 1 hour, like here, right? And we are simply gonna map out all the levels and wait for price to either come into internal structure or hunting for like external targets, right? So in this case here, we took out the highs, we break below here, we come up, we start a bearish trend for now, right? Where is that heading? Well, we are coming into the low of this, or the discount of this, 705, 795, right? Pretty much almost hitting the low here, but that's fine. And then we are starting a bullish trend. What are we doing here? We are going for external targets, right? So this would be the first target. Now what happens after we come up and take that? We sweep it, we come into internal structure again, because if we're looking at this low to this high, let's go into it. I did it in the trades that I take here as well, but we come exactly into 50% of this range. So mapping that out, you can see we hit 50%, and once we are in discount, it is valid for me to take longs. So what am I gonna do here if I'm gonna look for longs tomorrow? Well, let's just look at it. Okay, so on the weekly we are bullish. Why? Okay, why are we bullish on the weekly? We are mapping this on all time frames. So on the weekly here, just let's move this for a little while. We have a bullish closure that is, yeah, crazy, right? And we would expect this to continue until it doesn't, like till it prints a sweep or something. So since we closed above this high, we are expecting a new high and closure above, right? If it doesn't close above this high, then we can look for lower pricing. So weekly is bullish. Daily, we came into internal structure following the same concept. We are looking then from internal to external. So this was our target, all-time highs, right? Going down to the 1 hour, let's just go over it. Okay, so that's our main drawn liquidity. We are coming from this low, right? This is respecting. Now from internal we are going to external, right? This would be our target. Now in between that we obviously have internal structure, and this is following the same logic. Okay, so we take out this high, right? Now this is the low that we can't really break, right? And if we look at this right here, I mean, we are in discount of this, right? We came down to this. We didn't break the low. We didn't push lower than that. But even if we did, this is the overall range, right? So this is the overall range. We came below 50%, and now we're pushing higher. So again, since we actually hit 50% here, I'm gonna use this leg here tomorrow, and then wherever the high is here, I'm simply gonna look for a retracement down into that for a possible long again. So let's say we close here, right? Tomorrow, this gap here would be my preferred target or below it. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna look at it, and that's how I'm gonna trade it. Now, once I'm inside of this, I will look for my SMT, and that it lines up with possible standard deviations. It doesn't need to do that, but that's a really nice confluence. And also, let's look at this on a volume perspective. Okay, so if we look at previous day's range, we have previous day's range was from 6 o'clock yesterday at the close. If we look at volume here to 6 o'clock the day before, we can see that this is the range, right? Most of the volume, point of control, was traded here. This is the value area high. Now, once we are coming back inside this range, you can see that, look at this. So once we come inside here, right, this is on its way to here, right? Then it stalls a little bit but goes higher. Okay, that's a nice break. Now we also break structure above here, and this is coming up, almost taking out these highs, right? These people that are buying here are getting trapped, and then it goes lower, right? Testing out. Actually, at first I was contemplating taking longs right here, or actually did, or no, I didn't. My bad. I took longs down here. But looking at this, right? We came to the point of control. This is holding, coming up again, outside of value here, but then gets a disrespect of that, right? And we come down once more to test it. Now, we didn't get a full rotation all the way down here, which, I mean, we could have had that. Sometimes that happens, but since we are in the massive bull trend, I'm not really expecting that, right? So now, once we come above this again, and we are outside of value again, this is a really clean long, right? So you can long here. You can also use this breaker, because this is a breaker pattern, right? That's at least how I'm reading it, and we are using that to go higher. And yeah, we take all-time highs. So now it's just wait till a new day comes, and yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, and the explanations for my trading. Now I will attach a video, or I can't really attach a video to this live video, but I will attach a video in on YouTube as well, where you can't really see, unfortunately, the first video here. You can see that I'm explaining everything what I want to see. You can see here that I'm mapping out everything, but unfortunately it doesn't show my executions. So right here I'm just talking, but in the second video, which I'm gonna post, you can actually see me take trades. Let's see, there is my entry on this trade, because I took another I'll explain the trade. So down here we had the inversion, but also we came into a nice level. I took the trade, took it up here, closed it, and then when we came down here, as I said, accumulation, manipulation below, under key open, entered here with a wrong order, just stopped myself out on purpose, and then re-entered immediately after again. And then I took it up to my exit and I passed the account. As you can see up here, this is what I needed today, and that is my passing of that account. Now, and the reason why it's 54,000 and not 53 is because I had a really good day with like more than 1,500 on a day or something, and I had to have more profits, so I had to make like 11 or 1,200 more, which I did in the last 2 days. Now, I also said in the video that I wanted to see these highs, and that's exactly what we got. So overall, very happy with today. I'm gonna end the stream right there, and hopefully this is gonna get posted with nice quality and all that stuff. Until then, see you next time. And let's see if I can close this. Stop streaming and stop recording.